George Morales, who is now serving 32 years in federal prison for drug smuggling, once ran an air transport business in Florida. In 1984, while under indictment for smuggling marijuana, he was approached by the CIA.
You have to understand what situation. I was in the business, drug business, for a long time, and I did have no need for me to go to Costa Rica in order to fly back to the United States. Being in Colombia is very easy for me to go down there and get my connection and bring the cocaine back straight from Colombia. I got involved with these people in 1984, right after my indictment. They approached me with different questions to how to help the fight against the communists, because I was going to get in exchange for my help, I was going to get some type of deal, let me put it that way, in which they were going to be able to take care of my legal problems. They told me that they were going to go on to Washington and talk to these people in Washington. And in many occasions, they told me the name of Elliot Abrams and George Bush. They had some drugs, cocaine, in San Jose, Costa Rica, which they needed it to bring it back to the United States. I was told to send the planes with the supplies to French, which we did. And we came back with some drugs from Costa Rica.
Did you come back with cocaine?
Yes, we came back with cocaine.
Gary Betzner, who is also serving time for drug smuggling, worked as a pilot for George Morales.
George said he wanted me to fly a couple loads of guns and bring coke back from Costa Rica. And he gave me the directions to John Hull's ranch, who's a CIA operative in Costa Rica. I left approximately midnight. I arrived at John Hull's ranch about 7 o'clock in the morning. Offloaded the guns, loaded 500 keys of cocaine on the plane. I gassed the aircraft myself, loaded it, and departed. And each time I did it, I paid myself 20 kilos, which is approximately $400,000.
Eventually, when this was brought to the attention of the FBI and the assistant U.S. attorney in Miami, they went down and conducted some kind of investigation of this. Hull's name came up. Hull refused to be interviewed. Hull and his friends phoned Washington. Washington alerted Oliver North. Oliver North somehow got the Justice Department in Washington to phone down to the U.S. Attorney's office in Miami, and apparently the U.S. Attorney was told to go very slow on his investigation.
But CIA involvement in the drug business did not start in Central America. It dates back at least as far as the Vietnam War.
Well, the three men, Shackley and Singlaub and Secord, were all working together from different countries on the huge CIA secret war in Laos. Our allies were the opium-growing tribesmen, and this meant that we continued in a very large way not only to support but really to augment a flow of heroin. This had to be run with the knowledge and the approval of the people who were in charge of these air operations. And these air operations had been controlled in the 66-68 period by General Secord.
The way the dynamics worked is that you're a young or middle-grade case officer or pilot on Air America, the CIA Airlines, or CAT, Civil Air Transport, and this general and his family or his aides get on the plane and they have suitcases that you know damn well is full of heroin. Now, you don't really have the authority to throw them off. It's kind of more their country than yours. And if you do, you're going to lose your job and have the whole weight of the CIA coming down on you. Whereas if you just smile and fly them and then get them down to the base in whatever capital you're going to and take them through customs if necessary, help them through, you know, you're doing your job, you're making money, no questions asked.
Despite our best efforts, illegal cocaine is coming into our country at alarming levels. and 4 to 5 million people regularly use it. 500,000 Americans are hooked on heroin. 1 in 12 persons smokes marijuana regularly.
Our job is never easy because drug criminals are ingenious. They work every day to plot a new and better way to steal our children's lives, just as they've done by developing this new drug, crack. For every door that we close, they open a new door to death.
This administration is impossible to embarrass to begin with. I mean, they rely on the old rule of deny, 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 despite the vast amounts of evidence that is available. And as we talked earlier, there is the tendency within the Congress and within large sections of, first of all, the establishment media, simply to reject this sort of thing. It can't be happening. If Nancy Reagan is saying just no to drugs, how can, drugs be running by the same freedom fighters that she embraces at various banquets?
The weapons trade and the narcotics trade in the world are 2 of the top 5 major money-making transactions in the whole world. These 2 major commodities in the world are hundreds of billions of dollars that go on. They could pay the money of the national debt for whole countries. In fact, Jorge Ochoa and Pablo Escobar agreed to pay the entire national debt of Colombia if, in fact, Colombia would agree not to allow them to be extradited. And it would still leave both of these guys multi-billionaires. So the amount of money that we're talking about here is absolutely gargantuan. And all that the intelligence community, these guys have gone outside the governmental structures, are tapping into hundreds of millions, which they need to run their operations.
Now let's talk about profits. There's been testimony that Mr. Hakim and Secord were reaping large profits by marking up the arms being sold to the Contras. For example, Mr. Secord agreed to a suggestion of Tom Klein's that they maximize the profits from the last sale of arms to the Contras. Were you aware of that?
No.
How much money, according to your understanding, did Mr. Secord take from the sale of arms to Iran?
I still don't know. I don't even know that he did.
Was it your understanding that there was $8 million either in Swiss bank accounts or in investment accounts at CSF?
No, sir.
Money, it's a gas. Grab that cash with both hands and make a stash.
Facts are that Secord and North and Hakim are wonderful operators of a secret war, of a shadow government, operating for a shadow government, are people who still have control of $8 million of United States money, our money, and they are controlling it, got it rocked up in a Swiss bank somewhere, or off on a CD somewhere else.
But if you ask to analyze it, no surprise they're giving guns away.
Corruption, blatant violations of U.S. law, and drug running are not the only means to a political end. There is mounting evidence that assassinations, even of Americans, are not out of the question.